Hey babes, this is your host, Lady Adenum. And before I get into what's been on my mind, hit that like button if you are listening on YouTube or Rumble. And honey, if you are a newbie, subscribe. That is if you like what you hear. No pressure, sugar. So, lately I've been thinking about how the term unconditional love and conditional love, has been slipping out of people's mouths left and right, especially those self-proclaimed alphas. You know who I'm talking about, who think that they are so deep on a mic. Yeah, twisting up opinions as if they were facts, and darling, those idiots make my brain hurt. Hell, if I didn't scroll up fast enough, I might have caught the case of the stupid or a brain aneurysm. But I digress. Honey, listen, I'm extra sassy and classy today. Don't mind me. Of course, if you're here, you probably love it. So when it comes to unconditional love, the term itself implies love is automatically given with no strings attached. Basically insinuating that you have to accept the person as they are. That means the good, the bad, and the ugly. There are no boundaries. There are no limitations. You love unconditionally. You give love no matter what. Whereas conditional love can be defined as just that, love with conditions. In other words, there are boundaries and limitations, but it can also mean your love is given based on certain actions or requirements. Like, for instance, honey, I'll marry you if you buy me a house up in Beverly Hills, and you get me a vacation home in Dominican Republic. You know, I just made that up, but you get the gist, right, honey? Okay, moving on. So, when you think about these terms, a lot of people automatically jump to relationships as far as dating, right? Marriage and all that good stuff. You see, these terms do not only apply to the dating world. In fact, this is in all aspects of relationships. So think about, let's say, friendships, parent and child relationships, siblings, and even co-workers. Although I know you're probably like, screw them people, I don't give a damn about my co-workers. I'm just there to make my money and take my behind home, okay? But anyway, love, these two terms do apply to extended relationships outside of the dating world, okay? Now, what's fascinating, love, is that both of these terms don't have a definite definition. Go and look in the dictionary right now. You're not going to find these terms and the definition of each one. It just doesn't exist. Consider them as phantom terms that humans still breathe life into, as we tend to favor more opinions or point of views nonetheless. Alright, have you heard that quote from Chris Rock? You know, the one that goes, only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally, whereas a man is only loved under the condition that he provides something. Honey, I hate that quote in every way. Like, I just can't stand it. Every dusty post that quote saying it's facts. No, honey, it's an opinion. And baby, that kind of selfish thinking is harmful. In fact, all it does is feed the ego of victimhood. Ooh, but a lot of you don't think that way though, huh? Talking about you want to be in your masculine, but baby, you over here being a victim. How does that work, sugar? You were not born to be a victim, okay? Own your life and stop sabotaging yourself and striving for greatness. The victim mentality only attracts more chaos and is used as a crutch. And later, that in itself turns into resentment. Baby, you don't want that on your soul. This is why you need to take time to yourself and heal, and hell, even go talk to a therapist. Sort your life out, because resentment is something that can turn very ugly, and you just don't want that, honey. So in all, right, it's not true, okay? How many times have we heard of an auntie, cousin, or even grandmother stick beside a no good two-timing pendejo who was spreading his seed throughout the 7 seas? Come on now, honey. Now, wouldn't that be considered unconditional love, where a woman is laying her heart down to only be stomped on? Oh, and let's not forget the ones who pay all the bills while a grown-ass man is latching onto her teat as if she birthed him. Incest vibes, yeah. He definitely was looking for a mommy. Oh, and to add on to that, right? What Chris Rock fails to mention is that a woman's worth is wrapped up in our looks and how we are objectified. And of course, there are men who are going to say, oh, but you objectify yourselves. While I can see your point of view on that, honey, no, that's just not the case, okay? Throughout history, literally, we have always been objectified. So, to say that we are unconditionally loved, that's not true, baby. It's not true, okay? So moving on, right? Let's get into babies, right? Children being loved unconditionally, okay? Let me ask you this. If a baby were born with a birth defect or born with a handicap, would you still love that baby as much as you claim? And honey, it's a fair question. Just think about that for a moment. And personally, God bless them. I would never wish for them to not be here. They are humans and not some cute accessory for parents to fish out compliments and pats on the backs for being a parent, right? But the reality, the cold, hard reality, right, is that many of these children end up in foster care, okay? And many of them require full-time 24/7 around-the-clock care. Take in consideration the cost in raising a baby with said birth defects or handicaps. Darling, all of it totals up to a hefty amount. More than what regular people can afford. And never mind the snobby rich folks who just couldn't deal with the trials and tribulations. They simply stick them in a home and visit. Now tell me, is that really unconditional love? And don't get me wrong, there are wonderful and beautiful people out there who actually stick it out and love many of these children who have birth defects or handicaps unconditionally. And God bless you if you are one of these people. God bless you. We need more people like you on this earth. But honey, let me just say that I have read enough cases about innocent children in the foster care system who have been brutally beaten, starved, abused overall, okay? And the caretakers, of these children who suffered from birth defects or handicaps, they were only in it for the money. They only wanted to receive a check for these kids and not actually care for them. And honey, let's say a child was just a child that didn't have any kind of disabilities or any special needs. Children are still very costly, and unfortunately, many of them are brought into this world by negligent parents, people who don't deserve to be parents. Oh, and do I really need to get into the animals? Dogs, cats being stuffed into shelters because there's so many of them, with backyard breeding as well, let me tell you. And if these animals don't get adopted and the shelters are basically filled with so many, what ends up happening? They get slaughtered, they get killed, okay? To make room for more unwanted animals. Is that really unconditional love? And let me tell you, a lot of animals don't usually get adopted because something is wrong with them, right? Whether it's disability, whether it's behavioral problems. So honey, spare me those crocodile woe is me tears. Men are not the only ones who are loved with conditions, okay? Now darling, let me just say that I believe both unconditional and conditional love exist, okay? But personally, I believe there needs to be a balance between the opposing opposites. One cannot exceed the other. We need to learn where to spend our love freely and when to set boundaries. Once both unconditional and conditional love are understood and meet somewhere in the middle, we as humans can appreciate each other, just as with anything else. So, my lovely listeners, what do you favor most? Unconditional love or conditional love? And do you believe there needs to be balance? Comment below with your opinion if you are listening on YouTube or Rumble. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode as I tried not to drag things on. If I missed something, do tell, darling. And with that, thank you for listening. You can follow me on Insta at the Lady of Denim Podcast _. You can follow my main Insta and Twitter at a denim. Be sure to like and follow my Facebook page at the Lady of Denim Podcast. Mwah. Until next time, darling.